Scientifically incorrect, Bill Maher.
All right, God love you. All right, thank you. Hey, please. Oh, these are my kind of kids. These must be the bad kids. All right, let's meet our panel. You will relate to most of them. She is the 15-year-old co-founder of Goosehead.com, and her book, A Goosehead's Guide to Life, will be out this fall. Ashley Power. Ashley. He is the people's host of Love Line and The Man Show. Adam Carolla is right here. He is a 16-year-old sophomore at Tustin High School in Orange County. Daniel Tamaki. Daniel. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? And she's a student at North Carolina's Caldwell Academy and a teen activist for the Saviors Alliance for Lifting the Truth. Demi Bardsley. Demi. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Okay. All right, Adam, I don't know if you've been watching all week, but we've been here with the teenagers all week, and we've learned a lot about what's going on with them. Apparently, they're having more sex than we did. I don't mean you and I together.
One of them slipped and their penis landed in a vagina by mistake, they would have had more sex than I had in high school.
All right. Yeah, and statistics tell us about 2/3 of teenagers are sexually active, which that's a lot. And some people think that's a good thing. Some people think sex is vile and demeaning, and it can be, but it costs extra. I'm kidding. No, I know your organization because I know Christine O'Donnell, Saviors Alliance for Lifting the Truth, and there is a movement, which I think you are a good representative of, which is saying that chastity, abstinence is the hip thing.
Well, I believe that chastity is a good thing. I think it has more benefits than having sex outside of marriage.
What I want to know, though, is why do we align abstinence with righteousness? Because to me, it's righteous to answer the call of nature.
You could exactly call it a call of nature. It is a desire that, I mean, God has, when He created us as human beings, that's something that that's a part of us for being human. And all I believe is that it should be saved. It's something that's sacred that God intended to be inside of marriage.
I believe...
Who taught you this nonsense? I'm kidding.
It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Reading God's word.
I think abstinence, that's great. You know, people waiting to have sex until they're ready, that's wonderful. I have a problem with not being educated. You know, when I read about how the government has spent so much money on teaching abstinence and waiting until after you're married, but they won't let you talk about condoms, and they won't let you talk about oral sex. Where, I mean, what happens if you're in that situation?
Go ahead, talk about it.
We tried this approach with drugs, and I think with mixed results, which is sort of just say no.
Right.
Which is now just say or something. No more intercourse. We're on to oral sex. But I mean, I agree. It doesn't work. You got to educate.
I think you need to know. You need to know.
Pass out condoms and syringes and 6-packs, and let's get it on.
Whatever's going to keep everyone safe. So I think that's great if you want to wait, but you need to know what's going to happen and how to protect yourself if, in fact, you're in a situation that, you know, something ends up happening. If you don't know that you need to use a condom or you don't know what's going to happen, then...
I think people do know. They do know. It's out there. Yeah. Sex is everywhere. They know. They're educated. I think they're educated enough. You know, even little kids talking about and all this other stuff.
Little kids?
Little kids. I mean, even at my church, I do daycare.
Church, they talk about this?
In my church, little kids. I am the daycare, and little kids talking about their older brothers, you know, doing this stuff with their girlfriends. You know, I think they're educated enough.
Right, that's something that kids receive in our culture. I mean, everywhere you look, on TV, in a magazine, in a book, whatever. I mean, that's what they see, and that's what they recognize as part of their culture. And I think it's misrepresented.
So you're saying if you see someone on TV having sex, that means that you say, okay, well, I see them having sex, so I need to go have sex?
All I said was they know about it. I'm saying they know about it.
Yeah, I think
You
they're
said
educated
they
enough.
I knew about it
already.
all the way through junior high, high school, and 2 years of carpet cleaning after high school. Still couldn't manage to get laid. I wish knowing about it meant you got some.
Yeah.
It'd be great. I know about Rolls Royces and European vacations. There's a lot of stuff we know about it, but it doesn't mean you necessarily participate in it.
Right.
That's right. I'm just saying, when she was saying that we need to be educated about it, I think we're educated enough as it is.
Yes.
And I think everybody knows about it. You don't need to be taught it in a classroom as like the only way. That you have to succumb to those emotions or those feelings at a time when they shouldn't be surfaced.
But why? But I'm just wondering, because, I mean, the media does give us a lot of images of sex, but long before there was anything close to media, people wanted to do it, especially at the age you're at. This is the age when nature is telling you to procreate.
You know, why would God command your genitalia to move toward the opposite sex's genitalia if you weren't supposed to do it? I mean, what is he, some kind of screwball?
No, you are. In marriage, though. In marriage, it's something special for a man and a woman to share when they belong to each other.
No, but why would he create those urges in a 14, 15-year-old when he doesn't want you to get married until you're out of college?
Yeah.
Because he wants you to preserve them just for your husband or your wife.
How do you
and it's
know?
going to be more special.
How do you know this?
Because people can attest to it. People who have...
People?
Well, lots of people. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know about Joshua Harris's book, I Kiss Saying Goodbye. He waited. It basically promotes abstinence and waiting until you're
Is it
married.
promoted by judging people and calling people that have sex
Of course not.
bad?
No. There's no text in it. You hit your penis with it. It's a heavy book.
I'm just saying
You
that...
can hide a flask in it, too. I think it's hollowed out.
Well, I'm just saying that people who wait, I think they can say that it's much a better benefit. And people who have... What is
She makes a point for the girls, but not for the guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. I do agree with you halfway that if you make it out of high school as a virgin and as a woman, you've dodged a few bullets and come out unscathed.
But for a guy...
And you're looking pretty good. As a guy, you're getting your wussy.
What guy
Getting your
here...
ass kicked. It's not good for
If a girl said, I will have sex with you, what guy here would not have sex with her? If a girl came up to you and said, oh, would you like to have sex with me?
That doesn't make it right, though. That doesn't
What
make it
guy
right.
would not have sex with her? Raise your hands, please. Let's see. Honest opinion.
Take your hands out of your pants.
All right. Now we've identified the gay teenagers.
Well, now you know who you can marry. Find those boys. We'll get their phone numbers. That's who you can marry.
Yeah, right. Like, well, that's not a good thing. I don't understand why you see that as something that's positive, because those guys who just raise their hands...
I'm just saying we're being honest. I'm just saying we're being
they
honest.
show that they have no self-control.
No.
You have to have self-control.
You do. In fact, I have to take a commercial. That's my form of self-control. Tensions seem to be easing between the United States and China. Chinese officials today released the name of the pilot of theirs who crashed into our spy plane. I couldn't make this name up. The man's name is Wong Wei. I'm not kidding. And if you think if you think it's funny to us, you should see how it used to crack up his co-pilot, Love You Long Time. Tomorrow's our last night of Teen Week. We have Marilyn Manson and Kathy Griffin with two teenagers. I want to talk about looks, because I've been kind of getting on MTV all week, because, you know, MTV, the network of good-looking young kids, and the rest of them look at that who aren't good-looking and then shoot. Okay, so what do you think? I read your little bio there, and you have a website. You say you had a hard time in 8th grade because you were too good-looking?
No.
Oh.
No.
She was telling me how hot she was before the show, Bill. Yeah.
That's right. No, not at all. I mean, I had a hard time just because I think 8th grade is a catty year. I think personally, I don't, first of all, I don't think that I'm absolutely beautiful and wake up every morning and go, damn, you look sexy. You know, that's not something I do. And I struggle with the same things that every other normal teenage girl does, whether it be, you know, looks and boys and looks, good looks, whatever, you know, the quote-unquote good looks are that the media and society make, I think don't help you at all. Because I know gorgeous girls who are in high school who are the people who are sitting on their butts at home Friday nights with no dates.
Yeah, they have to say that so we don't kill them.
Yeah.
You know what I love? I love when models talk about how they were forced into modeling. I didn't want to model. I was going to be a veterinarian. But big guy got me in a headlock, and he dragged me to Europe.
Exactly.
You were 13, right? Yeah, I didn't want to go.
Right.
Right.
Also,
you've been doing it for 11 years. Why don't you just get out, then, if you don't want to be a model?
Models also say, you know, guys are intimidated to ask me out. And I always say to them, those guys should be. Because you would shoot them down so fast. Those guys are answering their correct instincts. Don't go up to her. She will shoot you down.
Good-looking people have bad days, but when you're ugly, every day is hell.
How many pop stars, how many singers like that are out there right now making it big in our culture? How many of them are butt ugly? How many of them? I'm serious.
That's why they're where they are.
75-80%.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
The guys are ugly.
The
Guy singers can be
I'm not
ugly.
going to go there. But
The Rolling Stones were ugly when I was a kid. They haven't changed.
They haven't changed.
That's why they still can do it. They're still skinny, ugly, and on drugs.
But now it's a new age. Looks are everything. It's so much
girls.
easier.
Yeah,
Right.
but
Guys
what about...
too, though.
No.
Yeah.
It helps. It helps. I mean, it helps to be a
It
good-looking
does help.
guy.
That's right.
But you don't need it. I think if you're a
Billy Joel.
17-year-old female, you need to be an attractive person if you're going to launch a singing career.
It's easier for school. It's easier to be in high school and be prettier. It's not fair, but it's true.
I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
Because I think that so many people, you get first of all, you get judged. And everyone's so judgmental and criticizes everyone that...
It's easier to be popular when you're
know
more...
who judges? Mostly the pretty girls.
That's
the pretty
right.
girls
The
look
evil
down on
pretty
the
girls.
ugly girls. And they're the ones that That's how it is. I'm sorry. That's how it is in the real world. And you
Are you saying I don't live in the real world? Because, you know, you live in the real world where you don't like to touch boys.
well,
How is that the real world?
Oh, don't say that, because that is not true. That's really low, because that's not true.
If
All
you
I'm
guys
saying is
are
either
going
way,
to fight, go for the
50-50.
hair.
Yeah.
That's the place to start when girls fight. Listen, here it is. Better to be good-looking than to be ugly. But the one part about being good-looking, and I know because I was really hot in high school. Super distractingly hot. Girls were scared to say yes when I asked them out on a date. They were so intimidated by my looks. Yes, that's how. It's hard to put that kind of spin on it, you know, but stay with me. But, you know, the one thing that's got to suck about being really good looking is having everyone think how easy you have it and how good your life is all the time. That's one part that must be a little bitch about being hot.
Right.
What about, I have a question to ask you now.
Uh-oh.
What about for you? Would you say that the type of women that you're, you know, dating before you got, let's say, a show that's on every day? Because millions of people see you every day. Has that changed from before to after?
Say something about Bill. He would date a very ugly woman if she was hot.
No, but I mean, has that changed? Do you think that the...
Yes, I've been able to date some models, and let me tell you, they're not happy people. You're right. It is not easy to be a good-looking woman. First of all the other women hate you.
Right.
They do.
Yeah, you
The
hate
women-
them, right? Especially you fat chicks. You really hate them. I mean, you hate them with a vengeance.
I have never known... I have never known a really, really pretty girl under 25 who had a friend, who had a woman friend. They have a lot of guy friends who aren't really friends. They're guys who are just waiting for a weak moment when they can nail them.
Yeah. You know what's always funny, too? When they...
So they really have no friends. The guys they can't trust because they
It's all
really...
about competition. Everyone's trying to compete with everyone.
They have
They're
no
all,
friends.
Yeah.
It's real. I mean,
But if they did have a friend, they would look exactly the same. They
Oh,
would
yeah.
look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Same hair, same
man.
style of clothing, same way. You
You
know.
know, let's go in a hot tub, and it's good times, yeah.
If they did have a friend, that's
they
the way.
dress alike.
Now, sometimes they're with someone who's not so good looking, who's with them to
Maybe.
get the runoff.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But they'll be like out there in the group.
All right, so what have we learned? Better to be good looking than ugly.
It's easier.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
I
I'm
don't
not.
think it's
Better to
really
be ugly?
better.
Not as a
Not-
female, though.
No.
Of course, the person doesn't want to be ugly, but if she is ugly, then she probably has a lot more life than the person who's beautiful. But
First, we can't classify them as
Yeah,
ugly.
you
I mean,
can't.
everybody's pretty in their
Yeah,
own
I'll
way.
define
You
what's
can't
ugly
say-
and what's
you
not
can't
ugly.
really-
You just can't say it because
Let me tell you something. If there's one message that MTV is not sending,
Right.
it's that everyone is pretty in their own way.
But
The message they're sending is you're pretty in our way. Tight abs, great rack, beautiful face. That's the way we like you to be pretty. Otherwise, you can be off camera.
you guys
Which is
ever
how the
see
media
a
is
really
looking at
ugly
it.
couple? Like, you know, you see a really ugly couple and you go, I wonder if they think each other are attractive, or do they know they're ugly and that's all they can get? Do you know what I mean? You ever notice that?
All right, we have to take a break. We'll ponder this. So you're saying like Mary Kay Letourneau, the teacher. Remember she had sex with the 13-year-old student? You say that's okay?
I don't think it's okay. I'm saying that's the person's choice. If they want to do that, they're going to have to suffer the consequence, even being good consequence or bad. It's still that person's choice. That's all I'm
It's
saying.
weird that it varies state to state, isn't
Yeah.
it?
That's right.
Idaho,
You go
14.
across-
Yeah, in Hawaii.
What else do they have to do there, I guess?
I guess, and they're so they got those huge calves, those Hawaiians. You know, they got those huge, big old calves.
Yeah.
Those people, you know, and they're sturdier than we are. So I think they can handle sex at a younger age. Maybe that's it.
I have to take another commercial. We'll be right back.
Join us tomorrow for the conclusion of P.I. High with Bill's guest, recording artist Marilyn Manson, actress comedian Kathy Griffin, and high school students Carol Bonner and Catherine Way.
Wong Wei, the Chinese pilot who was involved in the collision, has been called a cowboy. They say he was always flying too close to our planes. Sometimes they said he flew, this is true, flew so close that he could flash the American pilots his email address. And once, he actually managed to slip a menu under the door. We're here on our fourth night, and tonight's topic, sex, with the kids. And that's why we have Mr. Loveline, Adam, here.
Right.
Adam, a hero to the young people.
I was just thinking, you know, when we go to hell, me and you, Bill, we ought to hook up and start our own club. We don't want to. There's a lot of riffraff in hell, and we don't necessarily want to get hooked up with those folks. Dangerous criminals, pedophiles, folks like that.
Yeah,
Stuff
we
we want to
just-
steer clear of.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, Adam, because I want to ask these kids about the age of consent, because, you know, this differs from state to state. In Hawaii and Idaho, 14. Here in California, 18. In some countries, you know what they do? They have two ages. One was definitely legal, like 18. One definitely illegal, like 12. And in the gray area in between, only if she complains.
First of all, the law shouldn't even be there. I mean, it's the person's choice to have sex or not. I mean, no law.
No law?
No law should be telling them, oh, you can't have sex until you're 18. If the kids are 14, 15, 16 and want to have sex, it's their choice.
With anyone?
I think they're trying to protect them
What
from
about-
someone who's like 29, let's say, who tries to have sex with a girl
Yeah,
who's 12.
somebody really old, like
What if
29.
somebody, if you say that law shouldn't be
Some
there,
geezer who pulls his walker up to the girl's house and undoes his bag in order to have sex. Yes, takes his teeth out.
well, what if some guy rapes a girl and the girl
would be
is...
considered rape.
That's a crime already.
I
understand the statutory
but
rape.
what
It
if
shouldn't
it's-
be there.
What
It
if
really-
it's
it
state
should-
rape? Right. Well,
It should go by penis size. It really should, because always, I mean, I don't care if a 12-year-old kid had a huge dong, you know. I wouldn't want to, you could get hurt, you know.
What were you saying? I apologize,
Well,
Mr.
it's
Carolla.
okay. Well, if a girl is raped, date raped, whatever it is, by a guy, and I've heard of cases where the age of consent was a key factor in convicting the guy, because maybe she was a friend of his or his girlfriend, and when he raped her, she didn't want to have sex with him.
But it's still a crime.
It's
just a crime.
All I'm saying is that there should not be a law there controlling you.
All right, tomorrow, as promised, we have Marilyn Manson, Kathy Griffin, and high schoolers Daryl Bonner and Catherine Way.